All right, and Chuck talking about rotating the minutes. He has gone with a combination here to open up the second half. David Robinson, the lone starter, will jump center, but he has Karl Malone and Chris Mullen at the forward positions, and Clyde Drexler and John Stockton at the guards.
So you take the one starter from the starting unit in Robinson and you move him in with the second group that came on the floor. It allows you to move Karl Malone back to his natural power forward position, and you take another look, a different way of playing this game, Chuck, with a number of combinations obviously possible.
The second half is underway in international play. There are two 20-minute halves. Mullen for a straightaway three. Another three-pointer for the United States. They now lead 70-27 for Mullen, his second from three-point land. And the foul is called
Number 10 on Drexler.
On Drexler.
Personal foul. First team foul of the second half.
United States now 5 of 9 in the three-point shot. Cuba 2 of 9. This is Gilbert, and he lost it. He tried to back in on Robinson.
The problem is you get the ball down the low post, you start to back David Robinson in, then you say to yourself, where am I going with this?
Malone was hit, fouled by Lazaro Burrell. Lazaro Burrell is only 19 years of age. There he is, number 11. One of the youngest players in Cuba's national program. He averaged 17 points and a team-high 9 rebounds at the Pan American Games last summer.
In an unusual coaching decision in last night's game against Canada, in these games, 5 fouls and you're out. Not like the NBA, which is 6. Burrell last night picked up his third. Coach left him in the game midway during the first half. He then picks up his fourth. Has to sit out the rest of the first half. Comes back in and plays the remainder of the game without picking up another foul.
And he came on strong in the second half, a major contributor in that comeback against Canada. United States with a 72-27 lead. Off the beautiful lead pass.
Clyde Drexler, when he picked it up, never even hesitated. He knew that Stockton was gone, just laid it out there with a behind-the-back flip for the easy deuce.
Foul committed by Robinson, a block of Gilbert. That's 2 on Robinson.
Covering for one another defensively, making things happen. As soon as Drexler picked up the ball, he knew that Stockton was gone.
Cuba back to its starting unit. Burrell and Abreu up front. Gilbert the center. Diaz and Perez at the guards. Gilbert not able to hit. Rebounded by Robinson. Drexler for 3. And back comes Abreu. Here's Perez. Perez, Cuba's best all-around scorer. He averaged 21 points at the Pan American Games last summer. Only 2 of 5 to this point this afternoon.
He's an explosive player who plays in streaks, as David Robinson shows his versatility by ball faking, putting it on the floor to the basket. Perez last night, 20 of his 22 in the second half.
Last touched by Robinson.
The big man, David Robinson, with the ability to step out and put it on the floor, and one dribble is all it takes for David to get it to the basket.
Here's Perez trying to get into one of those streaks that you mentioned. Mullen able to clear it out. Look away pass from Stockton. Well, that's a combination that fans here in Portland are accustomed to seeing with the rivalry between Utah and Portland. Karl Malone and John Stockton able to team up. Mullen with the steal. Stockton has Mullen. Goes the other way. Clyde was trailing the play, and Stockton set him up perfectly. John Stockton, man who led the league in assists and steals, leading the NBA in assists for 5 straight years, averaged just under 14 assists per game. Abreu with the bucket, and the United States now leads 80-32. 3 minutes have gone by in the second half. Marv Albert, along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, and Quinn Buckner from Portland. The U.S. men's Olympic basketball team making its debut here today. Shot clock down to 5. Robinson will go to the line.
Let's go back a moment ago for the United States team, the transition game. Stockton knows his big man, his partner, Karl Malone, the mailman, is going to be running down the middle of the floor hard, so he's always looking for him. And then when you think he's going right, instead he goes left to Clyde for the finish.
Foul was committed by Gilbert. That is his 4th. And David Robinson having his difficulties at the free throw line.
Well, in talking to David yesterday, we mentioned the conditioning factor and then the surgery on the thumb, how much of an effect. He said, well, it's not 100% right now. He said, but it's healed well enough that I can still run the floor and block shots to help in those ways.
Nice backdoor feed. Abreu not able to hit. Mullen for 3. And back comes Perez. Finding Diaz. And Cuba will maintain possession.
The hand, which was repaired, the scar to David Robinson, surgery done during the regular season. And David on his way to recovering, not quite 100%, but feeling pretty good.
And there is the Tark, Jerry Tarkanian, who will be handling David Robinson as the new head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. Robinson underwent surgery back in March, and he's still playing with a splint on his left thumb. Stockton able to jump out for the steal. Malone for Mullen. Felix Morales trying to get back, but it was a 3-on-1 break. United States now leads 82-32.
What's happening right now with the Cuban team, you've got each of the players talking to one another about, look, throw the pass a little higher, throw it a little harder, throw it over here instead of over there, and that's what tends to happen. The pressure defense like this can just discourage teams, take them out of everything they're trying to do.
And Drexler leads the break. Stockton. Now, Mike, during the course of this week at the Tournament of Americas, we will see stronger teams than Cuba. Cuba did come up with a surprise last night. Last-second victory on the three-pointer by Diaz to beat Canada by 1 point. United States will go up against Canada here tomorrow night. But is this the pattern we're going to see? Will it be all blowouts for the so-called dream team of the United States?
There's no question, Mark, that this team is far superior to the other teams as far as the basketball abilities of the players. But you mentioned that there are stronger teams. The Brazil team is very big, very strong, a very experienced international team. Puerto Rico as well feels that they play well against the U.S.
32 lead over Cuba. That's the time remaining. The only concern of Chuck Daly as he approaches this tournament, the distribution of minutes to make sure that everyone is happy. You take a look at the average minutes per game of this all-star studded squad during the course of the regular season.
First of all, the NBA game is 48 minutes long. Here they play 2 20-minute halves, a 40-minute game. Each of these players on the U.S. team has been the focal point of their respective teams, so they're called upon to play the majority of the minutes for the team to be successful. Here, with a shorter game and with the talent that this U.S. team has, it'll be interesting to see how the minutes are split up. It probably will wind up in many of the games almost right down the middle with approximately 20 minutes per player.
Particularly in this tournament with the prospect of a host of blowouts to come. David Robinson now 3 of 6 from the free throw line. We went back to the archives to check this out. The biggest point differential ever for the United States in Olympic play, 72-point spread back in 1956. The U.S. defeating Thailand 101-29. A United States team that included Clyde Drexler. So Clyde has 12 points. Back in 88, U.S. walloping Egypt by a pretty good margin. That 56 team included Bill Russell, and Casey Jones. Perez. So the United States leads now 88-32. 6 minutes gone by in the second half. And it's gotten to the point where it, as you saw that the easy layup by Clyde Drexler, it has been that simple in the second half. The U.S. now leading 90-34.
When this USA, another turnover taking place, when this USA team comes out and applies the defensive pressure, it can break the spirit of a lot of basketball teams because it's going to have the ability to score so many points in just short, quick spurts.
The United States with 31 points, cashing in on turnovers. Cuba with only 2. Perez and Robinson able to control off the boards. Again, the U.S. on a break. Stockton alone. It counts, and the foul.
The long outlet pass takes place, and when you can outlet the ball to the half-court mark, you know you're going to get your players out on the break, and a big man like Malone running the floor. Stockton and Malone, a combination that Chuck Daly wants to keep together as much as possible on the floor.
Miguel Calderon, the Cuban coach, now making changes. Massive substitutions. Miguel Calderon played for the Cuban national team. He was a member of the squad that upset the United States in its opening game of the 1971 Pan American Games in Colombia, South America. There is Miguel. That loss prevented the United States from gaining the medal round, while Cuba earned the bronze that year. This is his first international coaching experience. Took over the coaching duties only 8 months ago. That basket will not count. Stockton on a give and go with Malone. 8 points, 10 assists for John Stockton. Magic Johnson with 8 assists. And Malone with the rebound, fires down. Here's Drexler for Robinson. Make it 97-34. Well, going into this competition, there were basketball people who said no question it would be a series of blowouts. Drexler again, and the foul. But I don't know if the severity of this type of blowout was expected, because I think if you went over to the Cuban bench and asked Coach Miguel Calderon, would you like to stop this right now, I think he would say yes. It's enough.
There's not a whole lot you can do. It's very frustrating for a coach because you understand that you still have to come back and play your next game tomorrow. And the objective of the coaching staff is to help the team as best they can to advance and move on to the Olympics. You go into this game and you understand, hey, maybe I don't have a real good chance of beating this team, but I've got to win the rest of my games.
Miguel giving the impression that obviously there is nothing that can be done. A lane violation was called, but Drexler got the second opportunity. 12 minutes, 11 seconds remaining. And the United States with a 100-34 lead. The Cuban team with the thought that a timeout was called, and that led the United States team to head back to their bench. But the officials wave it off, and play will continue.
But if you're Cuban, you're thinking about this all of a sudden, that the second half started with Magic and Michael and Charles. Those guys were on the bench. They still have to come back into the game yet.
And the Cubans are back in action tomorrow afternoon. They go up against Panama. United States facing Canada tomorrow night. That's a foul on Robinson. Got a piece of Alberto Machadel.
Number 5, David Robinson.
David Robinson called for his third, and now a timeout is indicated. 11:57 remaining in the game. The Cubans 33-7 in the second half. They led at the half 67-27. They have a 66-point lead. Alberto Machadel on the free throw line. Just under 12 minutes remaining in the game. Larry Bird has returned along with Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson back, and that won't count. So Michael Jordan with his most explosive move of the day, but he was fouled before the shot attempt. Hit by Caballero.
Well, I think everyone in this building has been waiting for Michael to do something explosive. Unfortunately, the whistle takes away the opportunity.
Barkley tried to go back door with Pippen. In watching Cuba get wiped out here by the United States, it might be difficult to fathom, but if you have a club that would be more competitive, what would the coaching strategy be to try and pull an upset against this United States squad? Mike, if you're coaching the other club, what do you do?
Well, first I make some big trades if it's possible to try and find some guys hanging out that can play. But you try to control tempo as best you can. Perhaps changing defenses, hoping to use some more time off the clock when the U.S. has the basketball by giving them one look, then changing to another, maybe changing back. The next thing offensively, milk the clock. Take the 30-second shot clock, run it down as low as possible, and hope for a very high shooting percentage evening so that you're knocking all your shots down, putting pressure back on the U.S. team. But looking down the road, two teams that should be very competitive teams, the Croatian team and Lithuania, both of those teams like to get out and run. So it's not their style to really, run the shot clock down.
Juan Caballero, the brother of Angel Caballero, called for the foul, and the steal by Angel Caballero. Jordan behind him. United States up by the score of 100-37. Oddly, the last time the U.S. played a major international basketball game, the opponent was Cuba. That was last August the 17th, as you see Jordan draw the foul when the United States beat the Cubans 93-74 to win the bronze medal. Earlier in that tournament, in the preliminary round, the Americans beat the Cubans 92-88 in a game that was every bit as close as that score indicates. That United States team featured 12 college players, including 6 who were drafted in the first round this past Wednesday. Christian Laettner, Jimmy Jackson, Walt Williams, Clarence Weatherspoon, Adam Keefe, Tracy Murray, all on that squad. Nice fake on Jordan. Good play by Juan Caballero. United States 100 and Cuba 39. And Cuba has actually unleashed 5 unanswered points. Scottie Pippen. The high man of the game, Clyde Drexler, has 17. Charles Barkley with 16. Karl Malone 11. Chris Mullin has 12. Larry Bird has 13. Jordan able to break it up. John Stockton with 11 assists. Magic Johnson has 9.
Normally that cross-court pass would have gotten through to an open teammate, but with the ability of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen to cover so much ground defensively, that's what many of these players have not seen in the competition they've played against. The athleticism, the fact that they cover so much space on the floor and then so quickly.
And the foul call.
Second personal, 14 foul.
It's on Caballero. Public address incorrect on the announcement. They said foul on Jordan, but it's Caballero. Bird open. Yes.
Actually, Michael Jordan wanted to throw that pass to Charles Barkley, who had just set the screen for him and rolled to the basket. Michael got up in the air, and the last second, when the defense rotated across and cut off Charles, he knew Larry was in the right-hand corner, just dropped it off for the open jumper.
Pippen with the steal. Couldn't hold on. Machadel able to recover. Last touch by Bird. 8 on the shot clock. It is a 30-second shot clock in international play. Rojas and Bird with the rebound. Gets to Pippen. Pippen over to Jordan. Through the foul.
Number 12,
Scotty understands that Michael will be there. All he's got to do is lay it on the floor. Michael will catch up and then protect with the body when trying to concentrate on the shot.
So Jordan to the line, fouled by Machadel. Well, 6 players have been able to win an NCAA title, an NBA championship, and a college championship. The 6 including a fellow by the name of Quinn Buckner. Nice setup. And it was finished off by Matienzo with just under 9 minutes remaining in the ball game. Barkley posting up. And he was hacked down the play. So Barkley to the line. Michael Jordan, Quinn Buckner, Casey Jones, Bill Russell, Jerry Lucas, and Clyde Leveillette stand out at Kansas before going on to the NBA. They have managed to win NCAA, Olympic gold, and an NBA championship. Barkley to the free throw line. Charles Barkley leads all active players in field goal percentage at 57%. In fact, that is second all time behind Artis Gilmore, who shot 58%, but Artis was doing it for the most part from close in.
Have a little quiz for you.
Yes.
You named the 6 players. Might there be one other guy hanging out here that's trying to do a similar thing? Add his name to that list? I know it's a tough question.
I would not even. Mike, it's so simplistic. I would not even give it a shot.
With. Magic Man trying to add his name to that list of 6.
I was there when we were talking about it earlier.
Needed too much time.
Oh, you're trying to fake this. A little fake quiz. 8:20 remaining in the game, and the U.S. leading 108-41. Jordan off the fake. Michael Jordan with a spectacular move, going to a second option. And the U.S. lead 110-41. Morales crushed. Look out.
Well, Michael was determined to make something happen here to get the crowd a little bit more involved than they've been. So how about a little double clutch, pull it away from the defensive man and kiss it off the rim and backboard. Jordan with the pullback, the concentration, elude the defense, and knock it down.
And Jerry, in 1960, you guys dominated in the Olympics, beating all your opponents by an average of 40 points. I think this team may outdo that.
Well, I think so, and particularly with a collection of talent. But not only that, when you have talent like this, talent's willing to play together. And I think it's very evident out here. Many times they almost pass up a shot they should normally take. But it's fun to watch them play, and I think this is going to be great, not only for basketball worldwide, but I think the NBA fans would love to see something like this, and that's why everyone's so excited about this team.
And that's why we're here watching, too, isn't it?
Well, we've been asleep for a while now.
Jerry, thanks a lot. Back to you, Marv.
All right, about Jerry West, the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. 7.5 remaining in the game, and the United States with a 110-43 lead.
And the U.S. showing a little zone defense right here, working on some of the things that Chuck was able to put in practice yesterday for the first time. A U.S. zone defense. He had to put it in because he had to work against it.
Leonardo Perez hitting a three-pointer. Magic Johnson able to come right back. Easy penetration for the Magic Man. United States leading 112-46. Cuba back to the starting backcourt of Jose Diaz and Leonardo Perez.
United States using a little 1-2-2, 3-2 flat zone.
Oh, behind the back feed. Pippen takes from Jordan. And the United States showing pressure on the inbounds. Gilbert being hounded by Barkley. And Barkley out of the pack. Barkley all the way through the foul. Charles to the line. We'll go to Quinn Buckner.
All right, thanks, Marv. I'm here with JoJo White. And JoJo, you played on the 1968 Olympic team, but I got to ask you, have you ever seen a group that plays as well together as this group?
Quinn, this is awesome. It's almost embarrassing. You look at the score. It's really exciting for the fans to see this magnitude of talent all together to perform for the United States. So it's kind of incredible, and we're seeing history in the making.
What is the thing that sticks out the most about this team to you?
Well, I think the guys themselves are excited about representing their country, and for the first time we ever had our pro team pitted against the other country's pros. So it's very, very exciting. I don't really see any competition at all.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I want to thank you, JoJo. Back to you, Marvin. Bye.
All right, Quinn, JoJo White, one-time Boston Celtics star, standout at Kansas, and Olympic gold medal winner. Foul committed by Barkley. Yudit Abreu checks back in, replacing Lazaro Burrell. The only Cuban player in double figures, Leonardo Perez, with 10 points. The high man for the United States, Charles Barkley, with 20. And 39-year-old Felix Morales on the free throw line. The United States now with a front line of Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson in the backcourt. Last touch by Pippen. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the game. The Tournament of the Americas beginning yesterday here in Portland. 4 games taking place. Overall, the top 4 teams will advance to the Olympics in Barcelona. Magic trying to hit Barkley. And back comes Gilbert. Bird with the steal. Pippen from Barkley. Preceded by the look away from Bird.
Well, I guess they've decided that it's a little bit of showtime right now for the U.S. team. Making the extra passes, Jerry. West mentioned a few moments ago, sometimes overpassing the basketball, but having fun doing it.
And Larry Bird has certainly enjoyed the afternoon. He's hit 6 of 7 from the field. He has 15 points. Bird has hit 3 from three-point range. Scottie Pippen to the foul line. Two-time All-Star, one of the NBA's most versatile players, man who has redefined the small forward position. Chuck Daly telling everybody how impressed he has been with Scottie Pippen. Not that he did not realize that Scottie is a terrific player, but as you know, Mike, when you see guys firsthand in practice, sometimes you get a better appreciation of the all-around skills.
A much greater appreciation when you're with them every day in practice and you see how hard they come to play in a meaningless situation. Practice, other than conditioning and getting this stuff down. But Chuck, a big fan of Scottie Pippen.
Felix Morales showing us the left-hand pop. The United States leading 118-49. They led 67-27 at halftime. Bird from Pippen.
This is all just playing right now. The structure part of it is gone. They're playing smart basketball, freedom to move on their own and play in the half-court offense. That time, a little back pick and then move to the basket wide open, and then the look and pass, the conversion factor.
Well, Perez showing that shooting touch that we talked about earlier. That's a three-pointer, his third of the game. He now has 13. Another 3 attempted. Here's Barkley. Barkley over Morales, who could just shake his head afterwards. So Barkley, the high man, with 22. Substitutions about to be made. A new 5 entering for the United States. Bird trying to keep it alive. Deflected out of bounds. And a timeout has been called with 3:46 remaining in the game.
When someone at 6'5" picks up the ball, you don't expect he's going to take it and dump it over the top of you, but Sir Charles certainly can.
1936 U.S. Olympic basketball team, UCLA's Frank Lubin. Quinn?
Thanks, Marv. I'm here with Frank Lubin, who did play in 1936. We talk about international competition. And for Lithuania, one of the teams that everyone says can compete with this American team. This is the Godfather. Frank, what do you think about the pros playing this?
Well, first off, I think the United States, what I've seen of them today, they're too good for anybody to compete with them. But I must mention my role in one of the teams that might give them a scare. I coached in Lithuania for 3 years after the first Olympics in 1936, 1939. We won the European basketball tournament. Myself, I was player, captain, and everything. Scored the particular basket to beat the former champions by 1 point. And then all my students thereafter were absorbed by Russia in 1940. I had to get out of the country. I stayed there for 3 years coaching. And so, but Russia, not known to have a basketball team in 1952, absorbed the Latvians, the Estonians, and the Lithuanians, and they gave the Americans a scare in Helsinki. They gave them the score was by 11 points. They lost to the United States. And going on in history, a lot of my students were coaching, and today, whoever beat the United States in the Olympics in 1988, do you know?
I know about it.
Oh, you know all that history. Well, 4 of my Lithuanians were on that Russian team. Today, they've got their independence. Lithuania, a small nation of 3 million people. They've got all these Lithuanians back from Russia and playing for Lithuania now, including Marcellonis, Sabonis, big 6'7" 2" man. And they beat the Russians last night by 30-some points. And they won to make it 54 points, showing that that's how long Russia dominated over the Lithuanians. But they didn't quite reach it, but they're a dominant factor in this.
Okay, well, Frank, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we want to get back to the game. But we hope that Lithuania does well. They'll get a chance, hopefully, to play the Americans, and we'll see if they come along. Thanks a lot. Mark?
I didn't realize that Frank Lubin had joined our broadcast team, Mike.
Quinn and Frank going for their own special.
Yes. Well, that magic is not available. Maybe Frank wants to join us here at the NBC microphone. Frank, a star in UCLA and a member of that 36 U.S. Olympic basketball team, a host of the Olympians in for a gala dinner here in Portland on Friday night. 2:35 remaining in the game. Nice follow by Caballero. Stockton getting down. That was all set to give Frank the close. He could have taken us right off the air. Machadel being guarded by Stockton. Chuck Daly now going with Leitner, with Malone and Mullen up front. Stockton and Drexler in the backcourt. Alberto Maturel. So the United States now leads 127-57. A 70-point differential. Well, a look at the Miller Genuine Draft play of the game. This taking place in the first half off the save by Michael Jordan, going behind the back, finding Larry Bird, and he's able to hit the three. The rejection by Drexler. That gets the crowd going.
Well, kind of likes the defensive aspect of the game, sending it back into the stands.
Malone from Stockton, it counts, and the foul. Assist number 13 for John Stockton of the Utah Jazz. Rojas called for the foul as fifth. So he is fouled out. Eliezer Rojas picking up number 5.
Well, earlier in the game, when I looked at the stats monitor and realized that the U.S. team was shooting 71%, if you're coaching the opposition, you say, well, they'll cool off eventually. I'm looking at it right now, and they're shooting 72%.
And it's been a combination of outside shooting and many easy opportunities allowed to penetrate right throughout.
Size and strength, not even a matchup with the Cuban team against the U.S. front line.
A 72-point lead. We mentioned earlier the biggest win ever for the United States in Olympic competition was a 72-point margin over Thailand, 101-29. That was back in 1956. The United States team led by Bill Russell and Casey Jones, and this is now a 73-point lead for the United States as we wind it down. Caballero on the back dribble setting up against Drexler. Macedel and Negrin over Mullen. Leitner able to get to it. Stockton from Mullen. Stockton saving it. Here's Mullen. And he's bottled up. Stockton on the recovery. Malone is fouled. And the crowd enjoyed the ball movement on that sequence.
You wonder how they know where the next guy is, but it's that court sense, the awareness of the entire floor. And then when you're trying to make a great save, you just lay it out there and you hope that your teammate continues to run hard and gets to that spot. And that's what's happened a number of times with the U.S. players. And then just before Karl Malone went up to try and make the layup, he delivered a little physicalness to Abreu in the form of a left elbow to his chest.
15 points for Karl Malone, 5-time All-Star. He and John Stockton leading Utah to the Midwest Division title this past season. And then they were defeated in the Western Conference Final by the Portland Trailblazers. Here's Caballero. Abreu able to keep it alive. Macedel just got a piece of the glass. Stockton ahead of the field. 134 to 57. Half minute remaining. Tomorrow night, the United States goes up against Canada here in Portland. While tomorrow afternoon, Cuba will face Panama. The chant of USA from this crowd of 12,000 plus at the Memorial Coliseum. 10 seconds to go. Green putting the move on Mullen. Malone with the rebound. And that will wrap it. Drexler will it count? Yes, it does. Well, the crowd loved the conclusion. The final score, the United States 136 and Cuba 57. We'll be back in Portland in a moment. And our player of the game, by way of the Portland Trailblazers, Clyde Drexler off the bench to hit 8 of 9. He finished with 20 points and 7 assists. Actually, you could have taken your pick. A host of stars for the U.S. men's Olympic basketball team as they defeat Cuba by the score of 136-57. We'll be right back.